Hi, this is Chuck Vosberg from lightingiseasy.com. Today what I'd like to do is apply a texture to this image here, kind of make it look a little bit grungy, like it's weathered just a bit. And what I'll do is take this texture that I've got over here and use it to make the texture on this image. To do it is very simple. I'm going to use my Move tool and move this texture over onto the image that I'd like to texturize. Take my Move tool and move this into place, and in order to make it so that it covers the whole image, I'm going to go to Edit and choose Free Transform. I'll just simply use these handles that Free Transform provides to stretch this so it covers the whole image, and then press Enter on the keyboard to apply this change. Well, now I've got this layer with the texture on top of my picture, and to apply this to the picture, all we have to do is change the blending mode. And the blending modes are right here. It says normal presently, and the ones that look the best, in my opinion, are in this section down here. So I'm just going to try overlay and see how that looks. That really applies that texture in there. We can change the opacity over here in the Layers panel to control how much of the texture applies. And I'd also encourage you, when you do this, to try out some of these other blending modes to see if maybe one of the others might look better for you. You can see each one of these has a different way that it applies the texture. And you can use the opacity to control how much texture that it's applying. Now, I'd like to show you also how to control where this texture appears. Now, before I do it, I want you to understand that you can still use your Move tool and move this texture around so you can find a good spot. Okay, I kind of like that right there. And you can apply a layer mask to mask out this texture in the areas where it's interfering with your subject. In order to do that, I've got my layer selected here in the Layers panel, and I'll go down to the bottom of the Layers panel and choose the Add Layer Mask button. It's this one right here. And you can see it's added a layer mask onto my picture. It's got this little frame around it right here to indicate that the mask is selected. If you click on the picture is selected. If you click on the mask is selected. We want to work on the mask, so we need to make sure that that is selected. When you click on the mask, the foreground and background colors in the bottom of the toolbox automatically switch to black and white. Black covers up the image and masks it out. White reveals it. So here you can see the mask is entirely white, so it's entirely showing the contents of that layer. I'm going to switch over to the brush tool here in the toolbox. Black is the foreground color, so that's the color that the paintbrush is going to paint. I'll increase the brush size using the bracket buttons on the keyboard and begin painting with black. And you can see that that removes the texture from the areas where I don't want it. And if we take a look here at the mask, you can see the area that I painted is black, so it's hiding the contents of this layer in those areas. If I go down to the bottom of the toolbox and switch to white, I can paint this back in, and then it reappears. So black hides the contents of the layer, and white shows it. So you can use this layer mask to control this. So I'm going to switch back to black, and I just want to kind of tone this down just a little bit through here. It's kind of a little too much in my opinion. So there we go. We're using the mask to control this, and also the opacity to control it. One other thing that I'd like you to know is that you've probably noticed that the color from this texture is applied to this image as well. And usually that's a good thing, but if you want just the texture and none of the color, what I recommend is click on the little thumbnail for the picture here in the Layers panel, the picture of the texture that is, then go to the Image menu at the top of the screen, go down to Adjustments, and choose Desaturate. When you go under Image and choose Adjustments and Desaturate, it takes all the color out of that selected image and leaves just the texture. So then you can, of course, change your opacity, and you may prefer that look. And again, experiment with your blending modes and try out different things to see what looks best to you. Adding these textures is really a lot of fun, and it gives it a really nice grungy, weathered look. So go to Lighting is Easy on Facebook, and if you like the page, just click like, and you'll be able to download my 12 favorite textures. They're high-res files, and you can start applying these to your images. So good luck with this, have a great time, and I'll see you next time.